Hello, I'm Derek Wheatley and welcome to episode 19 of the Wheatley podcast. As usual, thank you very much for your support through the week, for listening on Wednesday to Joanne's episode, for tuning in last night to the live segment. I enjoyed it last night, but I was a bit moody. I think I was I was in a bit of a downer last night, and I struggled with it, and I want to get off it as soon as possible. So, like I said on it, we're on the last few weeks of this lockdown, so we're kind of nearing the end of the live thing because I want to kind of concentrate on what I'm doing on this because it's more important to me. You can join us on our community page on the Discord server, which John has set up. It's actually a cool setup because it's got different subject matters, so you can go into the music section, film section, art, photos, whatever it is. Have a chat with the people in there. I think we have about 20 people in there so far. It's just like a little thing where we can maybe even ask questions. If you want to ask me questions or our next guest questions and things like that. Go to we're recording this Sunday, but this will be obviously out Wednesday. Go to our Facebook page. You will find a link to it there. If you can't find it, or if you're having trouble with it, contact myself or John and just send us a message, and we'll send you on the link and get you into it. It's just a bit of fun, and it's less hassle for me than having to worry about Saturday stuff. So that's enough of that stuff. I'm very excited about this guest now because and I don't want the people who have been on before to take this as an insult, but I'm excited about this guest because it's my younger brother, a father, and a man who seems to be sickeningly comfortable in his own skin, and I do not understand it, but we'll try and figure it out together. Simon, how's it going?
How are you, Declan? Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. It's great to have you. As always, we start with our little short history of your upbringing.
Right. Well, obviously it's a lot similar to yours, with a couple of years minus. Born in Athlone, then we obviously moved up to Swords, where I would have spent the majority of my youth. So I would, when anyone asks me where in the country I'm from, it's always Dublin. A lot of people get upset because obviously when I speak, I don't sound like I'm from Dublin, but
not anymore.
No. I used to back in the day. But so obviously we came back to Athlone in 2001. I think I came back, and I've been here ever since. Well, with did 2 years in Australia, obviously, and a year in Trim, but we're back here now.
Could I ask you actually just a little bit about that, because there's a slight difference in that you came back during school years. Yes. You came back in what year?
2001.
And you were in
transition year.
Oh, did you? I don't.
Yeah,
oh,
I had to. I was too young.
Oh, like me.
I was getting in trouble. So I was asked did I want to, but then I was told that I had to. So transition year it was. So my choice at the time was go to Florida or move to Athlone.
Yeah.
And we all know which decision I made.
The wrong one?
No,
buddy,
of course. No, definitely not.
You had a track record in school, it's fair to say. I remember one particular day I think I was in 5th or 6th year anyway, but a teacher came into the class and called myself and another chap in my class out into the corridor and said that both your brothers have been in a fight, and you had put someone through a wall of a prefab.
Yes, that is correct.
That's quite violent.
No, it seems a lot more violent by the outcome. Yeah. But he was, he had his own problems. Mr. Sean, I'll just call him.
Yeah.
He, let's just say he was picking on someone in the class unnecessarily, and it was more of a coming together. And he tripped. Let's say he tripped, and he ended up through the wall.
You weren't near him. You just saw.
No, I was just around him.
But that was just like one that picked out. Your record was up and down in school as far as discipline went, and that's all right. I mean, because I think if you bring myself into it and you bring our older brother Alan into it, it's there's quite a difference in what we were in school.
Yes.
Whether it was, and it could be anything. It could be in discipline, academic skills. It can be social skills as well. That's another thing that some people just excel at, and you would be in that bracket. So I do think there was quite a difference in the three of us. even personality wise, we were quite different.
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
we still are, obviously we still
Yeah.
are. The personality kind of remains the same, which is not a bad thing. When did you first become aware of mental health? So I know that's always my second question.
Yes. Well, to be honest, the first time would have been with yourself. Now at the start, I do recall it was given to me very vaguely.
Yeah.
What you were going through, so I wasn't fully aware of the situation, and it was kind of skirted around. I don't know if it, if it was just for me or if it was, the way I can be. But so I didn't really experience it fully until I came back from Australia.
Yeah.
Obviously, and you were a couple of years into it then. I started to understand more because I was very closed off to it at the start.
Yeah.
I just thought, oh, he's down. What does he have to be down about?
Yeah.
So I was very skeptical of the whole word.
Yeah.
To be honest. But no, since obviously yourself, when I came back and I sat down and we've spoke about it, and I've started to obviously open up, and I realised that there's a big issue at the minute, and always has been.
Yeah.
So and to be honest, other than that, I don't surround myself with too many people.
Yeah.
I keep a tight knit group of people around me. I obviously have broader friends too, but so I don't really get affected by it too many levels, other than dealing with whatever yourself is dealing with.
Yeah, I think I suppose you were kind of protected from it in a way by our mother, like in a good sense, to be exposing you to it too much if it was at all possible. I think when we first really kind of dug down into it, myself and you, we were talking about you were reading my blogs, and I started the kind of blog posts, and I think I did 15 or 16 of them, but you were reading them, and I think you were a little bit shocked of how big of a problem it was.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Particularly there's a couple of ones in there that are quite hard to read, and then you started obviously listening to this podcast as well. But I suppose for you at that point, you knew everything that needed to be to know. And I will say, like, the thing about, and we're going to talk about your wife Breed as well, obviously. But I think when you were in Trim at one point as well, and you always made a great effort to include me when you could, to invite me to places, and I think that's hugely important. That was hugely important for me, because when I'm with like family members, I can relax a bit, a lot more, obviously, and to be given a certain place to go, even because I can't get away much, you know what I mean? Like, you feel like you're kind of penned into it. You're like, I can't go for a day trip to Galway without a huge amount of hassle. But even if it was just a Trim, even if it's just out to where you are now, or that's kind of, it's very kind of reassuring to have that. And I understand that for you who weren't affected by it in the past, for you to be affected by it, to take it in and to kind of understand, and not to make it about that all the time, because I didn't want that to happen all the time, you want to kind of move away from it as much as possible. I want to actually ask you about Australia. Like, what was your experiences like over there as a whole, like?
Well, I mean, I had done a little stint in Australia a couple of years prior. I went for 3 months with a friend of mine whose dad lived there, so I'd obviously experienced it, and I really enjoyed it at the time. Now I was young and we were having a good time. So then Breed, my wife, who wasn't then my wife, was in college in Aberdeen, and she came home from college, and we were deciding what we'd do. I was working here in Athlone and we were living in Athlone, and we decided that we would travel. Yeah. So Australia was the place then, and the fact that I knew people in Australia, we decided Australia was the place to go. So we flew into Perth. We spent 3 months there with Johnny, who was a friend of mine we stayed with. We did the 3 months in Perth, and then we decided to drive the length of the country to Sydney. Breed's cousin was living in Sydney at the time, so that was good. We spent about 10 days in the car driving across country.
How many kangaroos did you?
2.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. The first night we left, we were told don't drive in the dark. It had just gotten dark, and Breed said to me, the next town is an hour away. I said, yeah, we'll do it. About 10 minutes later, a kangaroo about the size of
yeah.
me, hit the front of the car, and we had to pull into a backward town and sleep in the car for the night. So it was a good start.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we fast forward to when we were living in Melbourne. I hit another one, but I was driving a farmer's ute at the time, so he just exploded and everything was okay. But yeah, no, so the experience was, we spent a bit of time in Sydney then, and then we moved to Melbourne for about a year and a half. We lived in a town called Ballarat,
Right.
which is just outside Melbourne, about an hour. It's actually one of the coldest towns in Australia, which is one of the reasons we decided to go there. And we worked on a farm for 3 months, potato farm, picking spuds, and they had sheep as well.
Right.
We did the 3 months, and then we both got jobs in Ballarat because we enjoyed it, and we lived there for a year.
Yeah.
It came down to, did we want to stay there permanently? Because they would have sponsored us both jobs, but Breed wanted to come back and go back to college.
Yeah.
So she came back to do veterinary nursing, and we moved back to Athlone.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Australia was fantastic.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend it, but it's not a place we could see ourselves, settling full time, having kids and whatnot.
I think
Whatnot.
Yeah, that's a proper.
But
I've never heard you say
whatnot.
that ever.
Yeah, it must be this microphone.
You got the headphones on, you're all posh now.
Yeah.
No, I just, do you know what? I was talking about this the other day, and this has nothing to do with the Australia thing, right? But this is, I was watching a documentary with Richard Pryor, and so it's deadly, right? It was a great documentary. I love Richard Pryor. We our grandmother, Mam, we called her affectionately, Mam and Dad, and when we were kids, I'd say I was about, I would guess 10. So you would have been 8, 7 or 8?
7,
yeah.
yeah.
So she saw that there was a comedy in the newspaper coming up on the TV, and she gets a blank VHS tape, sticks it in, and records Stir Crazy. Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
so like you have a way better memory, and so does Alan actually than I do, because you'll say something to me about something we did and I won't remember it. But I remember this Stir Crazy, and it was like a revelation because the language we never heard before. Like, and like it was so nice of her to do it. Like,
that was Mam.
Yeah, that was Mam. She
Yeah.
was going out of her way to get us something to watch when we went up to visit them in Dundalk, and it was Stir Crazy. And I haven't seen it in a long time, and I really want to watch it again. And it was just when I was watching that documentary, it popped into my head because obviously Gene Wilder pops up in it as well. But it was one of those memories.
Brilliant movie.
It's great. Yeah.
I watched it recently, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I watch it whenever it's one of those. Whenever it's on the TV, it gets left on.
I think it's one of those ones that reminds you of nice things as well, though.
Yes.
And I have a few of them. We have a few of them collectively as a trio of things like Dumb and Dumber, which I've spoken about at length on here before, and we could quote it like verbatim to what it was.
Yeah.
And we had a little setup in the room in Swords where it was the TV was there. There was a 3-seater couch, and we just had these. We had like Happy Gilmore was one of them.
Yes.
And we just had these like videotapes recorded on them, and we just watched them over and over again. And it was probably the one time we weren't fighting as someone wasn't at each other.
I was going to say, Trains, Planes is another
Trains,
one.
Planes is
probably
another
my
one.
personal favourite.
Well, it is very funny.
Of course, for the one scene, because the F word is used quite a lot.
Yeah.
And when we were younger, that was always
This is the best
joy.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think. Do you remember there was another thing? Well, of course you remember it, but we had this computer in the corner, like you one of those big computer models, PCs.
Yeah.
And I was in the corner playing virtual pool for 17 hours in a row.
I was gonna say, when weren't you in the corner playing virtual pool?
Loved it. I love virtual pool. And then you and Alan were really hating on each other when you were playing Pro Evolution.
Pro Evolution, yes, that was the beginning. It's the beginning of the end.
For anybody who doesn't know, that's a football game, and they're very competitive, Alan and Simon, and we're always competitive with everything that they did, and I just couldn't really get into that. Like, it wasn't my thing, but I like to win, obviously, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But you and Alan would just like, you broke things. Like,
it was Moneyball. What is it? I as he said, Brad Pitt says in Moneyball, I hate to lose more than I like to win, that is absolutely how I feel. I've never been a bad winner, maybe with Alan a couple of times, but in general, I'm a pretty good winner, but
Yeah.
I am the worst loser. No matter what it comes down to. Even if it's a sport I've never played before, and I play a guy who's been playing it 10 years, doesn't matter.
But I did mention there a couple of episodes back, maybe more than a couple, that with football, when I was talking about football,
Yes.
and you would very much get into the game, and
yeah.
Blackburn Rovers are playing, but you do forget about it.
I do have a good knack. Breed will laugh at me a lot because during a game, I am. You just can't be in the room with me. I am horrible to be around. Everything frustrates me.
Yeah.
I will throw. I remember once we were playing. I think it was Bury. We were in League 1 2 years ago, and we have a brick wall over our fireplace.
Yeah.
And I have a little fidget cube because I'm always fidgeting with something.
Yeah.
So it's a big Batman fidget cube, and I think Bury had scored, and Breed was sitting on the other side of the room, and she had just gotten up. So I picked up the fidget cube. I was going to throw it off the brick wall and just smash it because I was that angry. But as I picked it up, it flung out my hand and hit the TV. So of course Breed came in, took all the remotes off the table in front of me, and I think she said something to me like, "You need to grow up." And all I remember is just looking at her with this look on my face, and I said to her, "This is not the time." So I remember after the game we ended up winning the game, and of course everything is hunky dory then. But I remember kind of thinking, Jesus, that's, I remember the look I gave her. There was such anger in my face. Nothing to do with her. It was just they really. But 10 minutes after the game, I'm fine.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know how you turn it up that high.
And
then turn it down. It's a skill in itself.
There you go. Yeah.
But I'll just we'll get stuck into the advert, and then we'll get you on the other side. Fusion Training Centre, Monksland Athlone, a place to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, martial arts and CrossFit. A great atmosphere with experienced coaches and a real sense of community. If you want to join the team, find us on Facebook at Fusion Training Centre or drop in for a chat. Fusion Training Centre, train like a warrior. By the time this comes out, the Fusion will be open again. Martin's doing outdoor classes for 10 people every class. If you're part of the the Fusion team and you haven't signed up yet, Martin has sent out stuff, or you can get in contact with him and he'll send you out your stuff so you can book into your class early, because the numbers are, as I said, 10 per class, so get in there. And it's great. It's going to be great to be back, and hopefully I'll be back in there myself this week. So I just wanted to talk to Simon a bit about his wedding weekend. The reason being because I found it like it was one of the bigger tests for me mentally than anything around that time, anything in the lead up. It was 2 nights away in Cork, and I hadn't, apart from maybe Dublin actually, might have been a couple, but this was in completely different surroundings, and I didn't know what the story was. I knew the wedding was going to be a crowded places and things like that.
Not too crowded.
Well, no, it was actually a nice sized wedding. It was great. But before that, where did you meet Breed?
So we met when she was working in the Dog and Duck. I know you plugged the Dog and Duck a couple of weeks ago.
I did.
My father-in-law, Frank's, but actually my parents-in-law.
Yeah, you better
include Brenda. I'm going to hear about that one. So they obviously own the Dog and Duck, and myself and my friend Dave used to drink quite a bit out in the Dog and Duck at the time, and Breed was working behind the bar, so that old age-old story.
You were the chaser, though, weren't you?
I was the guy leering at the end of the bar after drinking too much at the young barmaid. But actually, it more falls on her. She's the one who took the guy leering at her out on a date. So that's where we met.
Yeah.
11 years ago now.
Oh.
So yeah.
And your wedding was
in West Cork, so
West Cork,
Baltimore, Skibbereen, in between Baltimore and Skibbereen.
Beautiful
so
place.
Absolutely unbelievable. But I mean, as far as you can go, more or less
was,
south. So for you, it was certainly
How many years ago was it?
It was 4 years in September.
4 years in September. I think the thing about it, right? So to paint the picture, like we were driving down on the Friday. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. So we were driving down on the Friday, and I was with Alan and Alan's wife Lynn. So it was spilling rain that morning. It was really bad all the way down, actually, all the way to Cork from Athlone. It was just a shocker,
horrible morning, yeah.
So Alan, nervous Nelly, once he gets into a crowded part in the drive, and you know yourself, he wouldn't let it on, but if he gets into, when we got to Cork, like Lynn was like trying to calm him down, and I was in the back having freakouts because he was just narrating his driving.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it's
he
so
loves
weird.
that. Yeah,
like.
it is weird.
So we got and the timing, and we were like, all right, we're going to miss the ceremony now, but we'll be there for. We were almost kind of giving up on it because we thought we didn't know where we were gonna. We didn't know how far we were away from the place and things like that.
Yeah, it is. It is quite out there.
It's really out there,
yeah,
but
really
it's worth it. And when we got there, Adam parked somewhere, and then somebody was telling him, "No, you can't park there," and he was freaking. He was going mad in the car. But so we moved it. We got there in time.
Yeah, plenty of time actually.
Yeah, plenty of time in the end. It was a beautiful spot, and then the rain stopped.
Yes, right on cue.
Well,
3 o'clock
wasn't it?
was the ceremony, and the rain stopped at I think it was like 5 to 3.
It
and
was,
the sun came out, and
It was
beautiful
amazing.
day. Yeah, it was a brilliant day. We went down. We got the bus down to Baltimore, and
I stayed behind just
you
because I
stayed
had to
behind,
calm
yeah,
myself down. a
and
bit,
Cam Allen down.
more than me.
Yeah, so yeah, no, it was it's an unbelievable spot. Inishbeg was the name. It's a land access island, and you rent the whole island, and you were there.
Yeah, it's covered, but it's got like I think I mentioned on a podcast before that I left the wedding at about 10:30. I was happy that I had done.
Yeah,
my
no,
bit,
you
like,
were. To be fair, you were excellent that weekend.
I was delighted.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah,
and,
you really were.
And then I ended up like walking into this big mud pool thing, and I ended up in front of this house, and I hadn't seen it in the light. I didn't know where it came from. And then, but the thing about it, the next morning, I got up and I was fresh, obviously, and I went in, and there's like a pool house there.
Yeah,
and
it's
I was unbelievable, like, and I was like having a great time, and it was brilliant. There was a kind of a moment. I'm trying to think of how it was just after the ceremony, I think, and people were coming out on the decking, and the decking was wet, and there was all of a sudden like a Marx Brothers film that people were just flying around everywhere. I thought that was funny, but I thought it was a bit bad, like, because the men were like laughing when the women fell over, like, and that was like, you weren't there.
I do know the guy who did the ceremony slipped on the way in. I saw him. He fell over one of the lawn chairs, which was quite amusing.
Did he not? Did someone fall off the edge of the decking down into the grass, like, which wasn't a big drop? It was only about 4, not even 4
That could have been later in the night, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was.
There was probably a bit of.
But
alcohol.
it was a like I said, it was how many at the wedding?
46.
Yeah, nice crowd.
Too many.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. If we did it again, I told Reed I'd cut it in half, no problem.
Wow, that's rough.
Yeah.
But it was everybody was, it was a good crowd. Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah,
yeah.
We picked carefully.
Yeah, and I think that always helps with a wedding. I kind of relaxed into it once the dinner came out, and then the place for the dancing and things like that opened up. The DJ obviously was there. The speeches were all good. So I thought it went really well. For me, there was one moment though when I went down to I just went the following day it was. So everybody was knocking around doing their own thing at that stage, and then we were going to meet up for drinks afterwards. And I decided to kind of walk down to where the ceremony took place, but I didn't go into that direction. I went to my left, and you have to picture this, right? So it's if you're looking out, right, you're on a kind of a stony it's not really a beach, but it's kind of an inlet or something, and you're looking across another piece of land, and there was people out rowing, people like four people in the boat. So I'm sure
it's where the lads are from. The two annoying lads.
The Dunnage, is it Dunnage?
Is it the two? Yeah, everyone knows the
Olympian,
the rower
yeah.
boys. Yeah,
they train down there. So obviously there's a big club down there and things like that. But I was just sitting there, and I was behind the wall, and I couldn't. So even if someone was looking for me, they wouldn't be able to see me. And I was just like relaxing, and it was one of the nicest spots I've ever been in. And I'm not just saying that. I saw this like otter kind of come up, like you saw them as well. They were everywhere
on his back.
And this otter was like just chilling out, and it was just like, it's such a beautiful, like, calming place, and like it's one of those places I'd love to go back to if I could just rent out one bedroom, because even the accommodation was lovely.
They are, yeah. You could rent out the gypsy caravan.
Oh, there's a gypsy.
They have a gypsy caravan. Retreat is one of the rooms, so it's a.
Who is in that one? David Dollery.
David Dollery, yeah.
Of course,
yeah.
Yes.
He chose it.
We
were thinking, who would stay in that? And I remember saying to Breed, well, I know one guy who'd stay at it, so he was delighted to do so.
Yeah, I remember.
And there was an outdoor bath.
Yeah.
And I remember, it was probably 1 or 2 in the morning. Dave and my other friend Dave, I have a lot of Daves, decided to have a bath together. About 1 in the morning. So that's one of the memories of the weekend that I unfortunately saw pictures of. But there you go.
Yeah, I actually, and for no reason, I saw pictures as well. Yeah. It's different if you see pictures, because close friend of theirs. Like I don't know why had to be involved in seeing them, but yeah, it's not like it wouldn't be the first time one of them was naked, or both of them actually was naked. To be fair, they do really enjoy the nature side of things. But it was a great weekend, and I would say it was one thing for me. It was like a stepping stone and such that I kind of felt that although I had people supporting me and stuff, obviously, but I still had to get through it, and it was one of those things that kind of spurred me on that I could do a little bit more.
Yes.
And the way it's like with anything, like even if you're doing a sport or whatever it is, if you get that little push to do a little bit more, then that you've already done it, so you can go again.
Keep going. Yeah.
It's a very it was a great thing, and I had a very good weekend, and obviously you did
as did I.
Yeah.
I was just about to say.
So then, like, obviously the next big moment in your life is the arrival of your daughter.
Yes, Jessica. Yes. So we weren't quite married a year, or we were quite married a year. No, we weren't. And I remember we were trying, but we weren't. We have to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Trying. We were, practicing, let's say. So yeah, we were just kind of seeing how it goes, and I do remember coming home. It's just a normal, I think it was a Wednesday or something, and I remember Breed having there was a box on the table, and she said to me, "This is for you." And I'm thinking an early Father's Day present, because it was June.
Okay.
So it was the start of June. So I opened up the box, and she had a blueberry in it, just a blueberry. And I thought to myself, okay, firstly, I don't like blueberries, but they underneath was a little note, and the note said, "Our baby is this big now."
Oh, that's
so
nice.
that's how she told me.
Yeah.
So obviously, I've always wanted to be a dad.
Yeah.
It's one of the things. So you can't even put it into words. Well, I can't. How I felt, and then of course naturally you're thinking, right. You start thinking when the kid's 20 what you're going to do. Because obviously we didn't know it was going to be a girl. And then we had a decision to make, because we were living in Trim at the time when we were pregnant, and obviously Breed was going to be out. Breed was working in Dunshaughlin at the time. I was still commuting to Athlone. So we decided to come back to Athlone, because I was going to continue work. Breed was going to finish up. Obviously she was going to be on maternity. So Jessica came along then in March of that year. The following year, should I say. So we had her in the Rotunda, because we were living in Trim at the start of the pregnancy, and it's the closest hospital.
Okay.
So the week before, she went 10 days overdue, but we moved up to our mother's apartment, and she was actually away for the week, so we had it for ourselves for a whole week. Now, as I say, we were 10 days over, so we had a great time up there. We were meant to go in for a to be induced on the Monday, but Jessica decided to come that Sunday morning. So we flew into the Rotunda about 5:30, and it all happened so quickly. Even in the Rotunda, they were, we went in at 5:30, and Jessica was born, I think, at 11:30 or just around 12. I went from 0 to 100 very quickly. And she came out, and the labour took a bit of time, but thankfully everything was. But yeah, when she came out, it was a moment that it's very hard to put into words. It was just I
was going to say I can imagine, but I can't, obviously. Because it's not what it's
and
imagine.
Before it, I remember thinking, oh, it'll be this and it'll be that. But it's it was surreal. What you see happening is just amazing.
And I'll just say, and I know it's my niece, and I've got 4 of them.
Careful.
I know. I always have to be very, like, if I've got 4 nieces and 2 nephews, and like I obviously love them all, and I would say that you would best describe you as someone who dotes, and Breed I nearly left Breed that she both dote, and you did from the very start on Jessica, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And she's great. Like, she was such a great baby for you. Like,
it's ridiculous. That's the reason there's a number 2.
And number 2.
Yes.
Number 2 is your son then. Arrived.
Adam. That was a bit more. I think Jessica was there's just 13 months between them. Now, as you said, Jessica was such a good baby. She used to go down at 7, and she wouldn't wake up till 8 the next morning, so it left us time on our hands. Which obviously we put to good work, because I do remember I think Jessica would have been about, what, you're talking 4 months, 5 months. And I remember I got out of the shower. I went into the front. Now, Breed had been complaining about different things. And the dog at home, Seal, our first dog, he was spending a lot of time around her. And he did that the first time around. He was lying on her belly and stuff. And I remember saying to her a throwaway comment like, yeah, you're probably pregnant again. Yeah. She was like, no, go away. So got out of the shower one day, don't know what day, Friday or something, and I went in, and Breed was like, right, we'll pick a movie for tonight, and she had up on the screen, and it was like Knocked Up was on, and there was a couple other Father the Bride too, you know, when they have the baby and stuff, and I'm looking at it thinking, well, we've seen all these. And then she put on the song Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears, and I remember looking at her thinking, right, so we go again. So yeah, no, Adam came along then the following April, so as I said, 13 months.
Can you just say how much less classy the second reveal was?
Oh yeah.
The first was, I think, the blueberry is a beautiful little thing. The idea of the baby being that small at the time, and then she puts on Oops, I Did It Again. Fair play.
Yeah, we're running out of. We did have a 3-month-old or 4-month-old at home, so yeah, we didn't have the time to go to such lengths. So it was kind of a. It was just kind of right. Well, we go again. So now Adam was born here in Ballinasloe because we were obviously back living in Athlone. He was born in the April the following year. Again, no problems, in and out quick. But he's been the very same as Jess.
He's the most chilled out. He's the most chilled out baby.
Is ridiculous. He is. I don't even know. Sometimes I just think they gave us a doll in the hospital because he just. Nothing ever bothers him. No. We have a boxer pup at the minute. Well, he's not really a pup now.
No, but
Floyd is
what age is he?
7 months old.
He's so
he's
gangly.
But he like bashes Adam. Adam be sitting on the ground. He bashes him onto the ground, licks his face. Adam just looks at him, gets up. He knocks Jessica. That's the end of the world because she's at the terrible 2 stage. But Adam is so chilled out. He's so chilled out. We've actually moved him into the same room. Yeah. Just to get the abuse, but it doesn't affect him whatsoever.
It's amazing. You just sit him on your lap there, and he just stays there. I've got a couple of pictures of him just sitting on my lap, like just staring at whatever's there, whether it's the screen or whether it's Simon or whatever it is that's in front of him, and he's just the most chilled. Now, Jessica wasn't jumping around the place. She was calm enough, but not like this. No, it's unbelievable. Like,
I don't know. We're going to pay for it eventually.
Yeah, he's going to break out eventually. But your house is from the outside looking in is absolute madhouse. Because I'll describe it right. Because Simon makes more noise than anyone in the house. That's a fair comment.
Absolutely,
And Breed would you'd back me up if I'm Breed.
Yeah, no bother.
So then you've got Jessica, who's 2, Adam, who's 1. You've got Seal, who's, I don't know what age is Seal.
Actually, Seal makes the most noise.
Actually,
in the house.
Yeah, if you see someone.
4 in December.
And what kind of dog is he? He's a cross.
Yeah, he's a cross, a terrier. We think there's a bit of staffy in him.
Yeah, he's a lovely dog, like you, to be fair. But he does go mad if he hears anything. So you've got Seal doing that. You've got Floyd the boxer. Just he's so like boxers, very playful, obviously, and lovable. But like so gangly, and he just runs out. He doesn't watch where he's going.
Listen to anything.
And then you've got a cat who just the arrogance of the cat though.
Yes.
You didn't like it. You were like me with cats. You weren't a big fan of cats.
Yeah, hate cats.
And I think Breed was working as a vet at the time.
Yeah, and they, obviously stray cats and puppies get brought in all the time. And Dusty, who we've called her, was a stray cat brought in on Breed's weekend that she was working. So you have to bring home the strays if you're working the weekend, and she brought her home. Now me and our Breed are cat people, so she brought her home. Now Dusty's been with us for 4 years, so she just came in and that was it. Now I kind of brought her up as like a dog, so when I call her out the window she comes, but she is she's one of a kind. She's
a very peculiar cat. Like she does my head in, but I don't like cats. It's just the way it is. But she just appears. She frightened the life out of you.
You won't even touch her. It's kind of weird.
Oh well, no, I don't like. Look, Seal. I was talking about this to someone the other day. Right, Seal is the only dog that sits on my lap. That's allowed to sit on my lap. And this is going to sound weird to a lot of people, but for me, when animals are on my lap, I always feels like I've pissed myself. I don't like.
What?
No, because I see the way they'd be sitting there, the warmth. And it feels like that's what it feels like to me. But like I let Seal do it because because he did it when he was a puppy.
only a pup, yeah.
And you couldn't have Floyd in your lap, like Jesus, size him. But like I always let Seal do it, but he is a nice dog. But I just like I admire.
Very strange.
It is a bit strange.
It's like your banana phobia.
Oh,
it's so strange. Or eating ice pops
I
in
do
public is another
yeah,
classic.
I don't know. Actually, people, I probably mentioned. I don't know. Actually, maybe I didn't mention the banana thing on here, did I? I don't remember.
I don't remember. Or the ice pop.
I have a phobia of bananas. Like everything about them. The ice pop thing eaten in public is weird. I find it's very it can be construed as something else. Like
it depends who's watching, I guess.
No, yeah, look, that's what I mean. I mean, you can't be, you know those fruit pastille lollies?
Yes.
You can't be going to town on one of them in public, just because it looks odd. And especially as a grown man, I think kids can go to kids can do that, but a grown man shouldn't. And
you shouldn't be sitting on a wall eating a fruit pastille ice pop as a grown up anyway.
But I even as an ice cream, you know the way you'd be licking the sides of ice cream. It's very weird. I do love ice cream, and I'll definitely. I had some last weekend, and it was delicious on a cone, but in the house.
Oh right.
Oh yeah.
How did you get a cone?
We bought cones, like you just normal cones, like.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like in a packet.
Yeah. Then
then we got tub of ice cream. We got the scooper. And put it on.
It's a lot of work.
It was way too much work. It caused me anxiety, right? Because the cone was too small for the scoops, right? So things started dripping. I was like, "Oh, this is wrecking my head." I was and you couldn't put we bought flakes, but you couldn't put the flakes in the ice cream. It's too hard. And I was just giving myself a headache thinking about it. But this is what I wanted to get to. Like, I don't know why we got sidetracked, but I don't like bananas or
fruit pastilles,
lollies in public, but. What you've managed to create this kind of madhouse.
Yes,
you're like the guy. What's the guy in the circus?
The ringmaster.
You're like the ringmaster.
I am the ringmaster.
Yeah, because you're the loudest though.
Yes.
That's like you can't. You know the way I hate whistling. That's another thing. And you love whistling.
I love whistling.
And
all the time.
You'd be making dinner. Like Simon's a very good cook. He'd be in the dinner making some bolognese or something. And that's my favorite dinner. But he'd be whistling away and you can hear it over everything else in the house. And like even when he sneezes, he makes too much noise, and he just
enjoy a sneeze.
Yeah, but it's too loud. Like just sneeze, and then that's it.
Nothing is too loud.
Yeah, but you go for the drama at the end of it. You elongate it to something that's not a sneeze anymore.
Or perhaps that is a real sneeze.
It's like
and you're holding back. I think might be more.
No, but since they did my sinuses, I only sneeze about 4 times a year now.
Oh, that's creepy.
But when they come, they're delicious. But I do admire that about you. You do enjoy the chaos.
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah.
And I think if the world ended and everything outside the doors of your house ended, you'd still be a happy man being in there with your 2 kids and your dogs, your cat and your wife. He made a face when I said his wife.
No, absolutely. I love the more mad the better.
Yeah, but you are like a proper family man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I love being
like that.
Lockdown is kind of. I've always enjoyed staying at home, but lockdown has really, emphasized that I'm more than happy just to be at home.
Yeah.
I do like to, don't get me wrong, when I go out, I do like to go out and enjoy myself too. But no, I am more than happy. I'm happiest at home.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think you're like, and this is where I'm going to kind of lead to, and this is interesting, and it'll be interesting for pretty much most people because I think 95% of people are in this boat, and you're in the 5% thing because. Like the question is what's your beef with social media?
Oh no! How long do we have?
We have all the time to work.
I hate everything about social media.
Okay.
I think it's the most pointless exercise that anyone can be involved in. I have no interest in it whatsoever. I think there's too much. Everything you say is taken both well by some people and bad by other people.
Yeah.
It's a way of trying to portray your life as something it's not. In a lot of cases, people will say, "Oh, did you see such and such is, this Facebook thing where, I don't care about a guy I was in first year with who's having a great day in an orchard. I really don't. What other people are doing doesn't really interest me.
Yeah.
And it's all just even, looking up people who you knew in the past, and it's a little creepy.
A little bit weird.
I find it all and even the ones that begin in a good place. I think what's the one? Instagram for pictures, and they start off as good intentions, but then it just turns to ways of people putting up just complete nonsense, and trying to put themselves out. Like I said, it's all about, look at my life. I'm not even getting started on the people who say, oh, taking pictures of their dinners and stuff like that. That's whatever. Why people are looking at that in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I know what you mean though, like it is kind of harmless stuff that people
exactly.
are doing.
And if someone chooses to look at, that's fine. But it's the constant on the phone. It's like when you're in work, or say you're on, I remember I was on a dart going to, I think it was Dunleary or something, and I remember I was stood in the train, or the dart obviously, and every single person I looked around had a phone out they were looking at it. No, I didn't. I was looking out the window, and this guy beside me looked at me strangely. He looked at me, looked back at his phone, then looked at me as if like, what are you doing? Take your phone out. Now that's, to me, that's crazy stuff. So yeah, I am so against everything social media.
Can I, like, I think I know what you mean though. I've kind of railed against it a bit as well on this podcast and stuff, that people do trying to portray their lives as something that it's not. Yeah. And we're all go through equal amount of pain and joy and all that. But I think there's some good that can come out of it. I think what can be destructive is the people who, and I'm not having to go with someone's intelligence here, but I'm talking about young people, and I'm talking about people who are easily led on, and when they do see that side of things where they think, oh, this person's beautiful, and they go to all beautiful places and they're always in great form, they're always smiling, that's destructive to someone's life, because they may not ever get to that, like, and it can cause, obviously it can cause a lot of problems, mental health problems and things like that. When it comes to the phone, I kind of get you as well. There is a lot of that on phone, on public transport and things like that. You do have you easily will sit there and ignore anything that happens on your phone.
Yes.
At home, so like, just let me paint the picture, because he's just sitting at home and I'm sitting there, and there's a beep, and there's a call, and there's another beep, and he doesn't check it. Now for me, I just check it out of, and it's probably a bad thing, but it's just out of like out of instinct now. It doesn't. I don't even wait. I just do bang. Yeah. And like when did that start? Was that always with mobiles?
Yeah, I remember when mobiles. Obviously, I'm about the age where it really took off. Yeah. I remember our first phone had the one line where you could type, and you started texting girls when you were younger and stuff. But yeah, I never. As I said to you, it sounds weird, and even saying it, you probably sound like a sociopath or something. But what other people do doesn't really interest me. Yeah. If someone's looking for me, and it's a text, it's never going to be important. If Breed's not in the house, and I get a text, I'll have a glance, see if it's her. If it's not, as I said, there's other important things going on. My house is mad, as you said, so there's always something else. Yeah,
the phone never takes precedent over other things, and nor should, like, and I agree 100%, nor should it. Now if we can compare each other, it's completely different, because I'm sitting here either with Anne or on my own. Obviously I'm going to check the phone, and it's a great tool for things like that, for reaching out to people, and I understand that. But do your friends know that you purposefully will just not bother with it? They know that.
They know.
Have they ever been, like, at the start, were they ever offended by it, like, or impatient about it?
Yes. Yeah. They would have been. Yeah. Why don't you ever answer your phone? Or I would be. A lot of the times, even still, they'll leave specific voice messages for me to listen to. But no, they know. And to be fair, the lads that I be ringing, they do the same sometimes. They wouldn't pick up, but I will go a week and not pick up. Yeah. And it's not. As I say, it's not against them. No. Yeah. And to be honest, there's the two lads I would talk to most days on the phone, but generally when I'm in work, I'll answer the phone. If you ring me when I'm in work, I'll answer the phone. But at home, I'm usually doing something else. And there are times I think, I'll go back but like these video calls that started happening during lockdown. One friend in particular who enjoys an old video call, he got quite upset with me because I wouldn't go on them and I would just ignore them. But I did do one for him. I did a video call.
They're weird though. They're weird to get used to.
Even when Breed was living in Aberdeen that time, and Skype was Skype then. I just found it so weird, because you don't just sit and look at people. You're just sitting looking at each other on the. I know you do look at, like, you should make eye contact and stuff, but there's just something about, I was never really a big fan of it. Now I do it for work.
Yeah.
We have conference calls, and even still, it's kind of, I'd rather cover my camera than be seen to be looking, and you know. But so no, I'm not. Yeah, it just doesn't interest me.
Do you think it's rubbed off on Breed? She's not mad on her phone, I know that. Like, but
no, she's not. She'd be a little more social media than me now.
Yeah.
She would be on the sites and stuff, but no, she wouldn't be a big, because if I'm not, she's not. You know, I think it's a case when you go to a restaurant and you see a couple out and they're both on their phones. It's just a little, you know, it's a little silly.
It is kind of sad, I think, when you see
but like
that.
when people say no, it's not. So
yeah, some
whatever
people
you're into, I don't know who'll say no, it's not. I don't know. I'd like somebody to sit across from me and explain why it's a good thing that they're both on their phones, to be perfectly honest.
I agree. I don't think it's good. It's a good look when two people are out for a meal, or even out for a drink, and it's just the two of them together. It's even if there's a group of people and one person's on the phone, they might be actually doing something important
of course,
on the phone.
Yeah, there might be things to.
Yeah,
like you have to check up. If I'm out now with the lads, I'll check up and make sure the kids are all right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you never use your phone.
No,
just when it's the unnecessary times, when you're just talking about, you know, nonsense. Now, if there's a football match going on, me and the lads will be sending, you know, messages about
having a bit of crack, like.
Or if you go at each other,
you
know, when you start a war of words breaks out, then you'll send a few.
But do you like? Sometimes sometimes I'm in the middle of it, to be fair. But if I'm not, you know, in like group chats when two lads are going at each other, and do you like sitting there and just enjoying yourself?
I don't do group chats.
Oh, do you not?
No, I exit them if I'm put in them. Because like that,
smart.
You know, when two lads are going at each other, it's
nice though. It's like a little bit of entertainment.
I remember like me, you, and Alan have one, and generally it was me and Alan going at it. But I would enjoy if someone else was going at it for a change, alright. But no, I generally get out of the group, because they start off, even say we're going away and we all get on a group, it's fine for the start, but then all the pictures come in and the videos of nonsense that I don't, you know.
We have like the Fusion coaches group chat, and you get great crack out of that, like, because I'm not sure how many's in it, but maybe it's 8 or 9 in it, and to be slagging, like, you know, but it's all because we're all friends. It's not like brothers. Exactly. You're not gonna go at each other with like shanks.
Oh,
is that what they're called?
Yeah, it is. We that's not our group. We would the shanks come out quite often. When this is a question. It's a tough question to kind of answer probably straight away. But like, when did you last feel anxious or ill at ease in a situation? That's it is a tough one. The birth of Jessica and Adam.
Yeah,
I would have been anxious. I'm worried, not just for the children, but for Breed. And to be honest, I remember when Breed pulled up in the car at the wedding was the first kind of time I kind of thought, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? It was only a small walk in. And I do remember feeling a strange feeling that I wouldn't have felt before. And because I do remember a friend of mine, Foxy, came up to me afterwards. Foxy would be like myself, we're fairly laid back. And he said, he said, Jesus, I saw a look of nervous on your face. He said, I didn't think you did nerves. He said, no, I'm not looking forward to it, is what he said to me. His own, obviously. But yeah, no, it would have been, definitely not anxious.
Just nervous and
just like, oh, something's happening. But no, I'm not really, thankfully, I don't really get to any kind of, you know, I don't worry about, I worry about the normal things. You know, someone coming in and stabbing me while I sleep.
Is that a normal thing?
No, you know, I don't want something to happen to anyone in the house. Of course, But no, I wouldn't, you know, tests or work projects or anything like that. It just get it done.
It's like somebody said to me at the wedding, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, oh, he looked quite nervous, and I didn't see it at all. Like, you hit it. Well, Foxy saw it, but I didn't see it at all.
Yeah, no, and it was I was perfectly fine until I saw the car pull up.
Yeah,
and then once Bree got up to me, I was fine again.
Yeah,
but I do remember thinking, oh, so this is what you're meant to feel like. But the whole build up and people are saying, oh yeah, I was like, no.
That's nice though. I think that's great that you don't. And I know what you're saying. I think everybody has those kind of bloated worries where they're thinking like, oh, what if the house burns down, or
Yes.
and they're just
Yeah,
completely irrational kind of thoughts. But I think everybody thinks them. I had a thing when we were living in Athlone, Alan and Simon had a bedroom, and I had the front bedroom, which was a double bed. It was a nice size room.
Yeah, it was a good room.
And like Alan wouldn't take it because he said it was haunted. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I thought an old woman died in it.
Old woman died in it. Yeah.
I never met her, but I used to get these worries that it was going to burn down, like, and I
Just
got
the room.
no, the whole house,
All
like.
right,
But
okay.
I got that obsession, like Pierce would have laid out. Pierce is her father, by the way. But he would have laid out an escape route. So break the toilet window, put the duvet over the glass, and out you go. And I obsessed with the escape route.
Right.
I couldn't stop, and I honestly thought that the room. I was like, this is how I'm going to die. I got so like, and that I should have known then that I was an anxious person. Like,
Yes. What age were you when you were thinking this?
I'd say it started when I was about 10 or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
Right.
very young.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have. Obviously, I've been listening to the podcast and going back through events that
Yeah.
you've had in that. But what I remember you as young was quite happy.
Yeah,
Quite. You were always kind of the nice one
yeah, I think it was.
out of
yeah.
the three of us. People would have always
I'd
said,
say I still am.
yeah, probably. But they would have said, Derek's the nice one.
Yeah.
No,
don't-
not saying you're not nice now.
I
But
think, do
I
you know
just
what I think they meant though? The most, or the least harmless. What? No, the harmless one. Is
The
it
harmless
the
one.
least harmless? The most harmless. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I get you.
Getting mixed up. And
Um,
I was way with the fairies, as my grandmother
Yes.
used to say. But yeah, so I suppose I went off on a bit of a tangent, but I suppose that's the thing about bloating things, and I don't worry about fire now at all. But I do worry. I do worry about when I
should
get up.
more now. You're upstairs.
Probably should. I have an escape route, but I'd probably break both my legs.
Yeah,
you know.
that's okay.
But yeah, you survive. But I always think of like, what if I get on the bike and a tractor just mills me over and I come around the corner? I don't know. Anyway, this isn't about me. But do you ever feel down? Not angry, because
I feel angry.
Yeah, and anger is there.
20th of June, I'll feel angry. Do I ever feel down? No.
No, that's good.
No, just yeah. I thought for a minute, but no, I never feel down.
I wouldn't.
I have
said
days
it, yeah.
where you'd be,
annoyed.
Annoyed, and you might, take it out on the dog.
Yeah.
Not beat him or anything, but give out to him,
Yeah.
over the top, give him
Yeah.
out. But no, I'm never down. I have
Yeah.
quite a busy day. I don't really have time.
I see.
Get
Do
down.
you know what I see in you? Like, actually, I've never seen you be down. Like, and I see sometimes frustrations and stuff, but it doesn't come from. It rarely comes from yourself. It normally comes from the behavior of others around you.
Yes.
When they're just being stubborn or being dicks or whatever you want it, whatever
Yes.
way, and it's never like it's never yourself that does it. And I think that's quite a nice way to be. If they're external things that are doing it, if it's not your own return, because I'd tell you, and I mentioned to you earlier on, I had a bad day yesterday, and I was like struggling with a lot of things, and I really struggled with the live thing, and but I knew that you were coming over today, and we were going to
Yes.
have a bit of a chat,
Yeah.
and I get a lift out of it, and sometimes that's all you need, like.
Oh, good.
And that's obviously I have Anne downstairs, and I have friend Josh is there knocking around. I
Yes.
have those things, but like to just have a chat about kind of just all the stuff, questions
Yeah.
and stuff. And
Yeah.
this is the easiest one to write, like, because I knew I could just talk about memories or childhood memories, but also memories for you, like the wedding and the birth of your children.
Yes.
And it was going to be a bit of crack, and I was right. So it's been a bit of a lift for me. I do have
Happy to help, Deco.
Thank you very much. I do have one more thing. Do you have any questions for me before we sign off?
I was thinking, there was a couple of things I was going through. I'm not sure if you answered this before, but one of the things I thought,
Yeah.
if you could say get rid, probably not the right word, get rid, but say you had a decision to make
Yeah.
to remove the anxiety or the depression. So not what's worse, say, because one could be worse, doesn't
Yeah.
mean it could be more manageable, but it's worse. If you could offload one, why would it be the one that you would choose?
Well, like that is a good question. I skirted around it a bit before.
Yeah,
But I would
don't know if
say
there was a-
no. I didn't give a proper answer on why I would do it. I would say it would be the anxiety would go that I'd want to go, right? And the reason I would say anxiety is anxiety is pretty much a constant. Like, it's always bubbling under the surface. I mean, if you know the way you're talking about being nervous in a situation, and it's a strange feeling, and everybody knows the feelings of nerves and anxiety, right? So I don't need to go through them, but that can be, when it's at its height, it's debilitating. It's the worst thing about it is when it's not at its height, right? So you're just sitting downstairs watching TV, right? And I see something coming on the TV, and I can just feel it below the surface. It's like it's ready to go all the time. Yeah, it's like I kind of sometimes think of it as the tide. You know, that it's always there. Like, there's always a tide, but sometimes it's going out and sometimes it's going in. And I think with the depression is what I felt yesterday was like a steep kind of decline during the course of the day, and I was hoping it's not going to go in. I'm still hoping it's not going to go into a few days period, like, you know, which happens. Yeah. But I think it can come and go, and I do get those highs, which I do not like. I like them way more than the lows. But with anxiety, like I say, it's a constant. It's there all the time, and it's something that I don't think depression would stop me going to Galway in a train.
Yes,
but I know anxiety would do it.
Right,
and I think that is definitely the thing that I would get rid of if I could. But yeah, I'd love to talk to people about that who have maybe have the same question put to them, and if they did answer differently, why would they answer differently? You know, like, because I think I might be wrong, but I think some people who they can kind of funnel the anxiety in a way that it keeps them on their toes. It keeps them going, and whether they're in a crazy work life or they've got loads of
challenge.
And it's like this thing that kind of keeps them going. Like, they have loads of kids and they've got different things going all the time, and the anxiety kind of pushes them. But, you know, for me, it's not that. I'm obviously in different situations, so everybody's different, right, you know. But yeah, that's a good question, and I will be talking to obviously a lot more people in the course of the next few weeks, and maybe I can pose the question to them. Anything else?
I do have a silly question.
Okay.
If you could offload both,
if
you could have a free day, say, where you were, you know, what would you do? What's the one thing, like, somewhere that you'd like to go? Not be anxious about. Is there anything?
There'd definitely be loads of things. You know, I'd like to go to something that was with a large crowd,
like a football match or
something
a concert,
like that.
not feel any anxiety,
and not feel anything.
And so I thought the answer would be
I mean, damn it, because I haven't been to a concert since I think it was 2017, and it was a nerve-wracking experience, and I loved the concert obviously, but it was tough. I'd love to be around like loads of people and not have to worry about things. And like, I know people can be, you know, you're one person's going to annoy you here, one person's too loud. I understand. There is always
noise everywhere.
There is, but I think I spend so much time like kind of so much like insular, or just whether it's me, myself on my own, or with Anne, one or two people like coming out to you and breathe. There's always there's a safety in that. I'd like to break out from that just for a day, and so somewhere like a concert or something, just go for it mad, like go to the mosh pit, like even if it's like a Paul Simon concert, just get a mosh pit going.
Get it going,
But no, that's actually a good question. I actually never even thought of that. There you go. Yeah, thanks very much.
I should think of starting my own podcast.
Maybe you should have. What would you call it? Actually, you'd have to rip off this.
I'd only have Dave's on anyway, so I just have the same guests over and over. Foxy might come on.
Just the days, So you could just do it on your own, though.
No, I don't think anyone wants to listen to that.
I don't know. I don't
know. They don't want to listen to me giving out for.
I'll tell you what. We'll find out when this comes
there
out.
Go,
We'll find out. I'm gonna say we'll call it there, because I know you actually have a family to get home to. And what did we run? Jesus, an hour. That didn't feel like an hour at all.
Didn't feel like an hour.
So thank you very much, Simon, for coming on.
No problem.
Really
Thanks for having me, Declan.
Oh no, it was great. Thanks a million again to John for all the work he's doing, and for the work he's doing with Discord. Thank you so much to his family and to Megan also. Big thanks to Ger, my mother, our father, and our grandfather. Listen, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're the Wheatley. Facebook is I think it's the same. Instagram is Wheatley_there, and Twitter, no, Instagram is Wheatley the Weekly, and Twitter is _Wheatley_ there. We're on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, Google Podcasts, etc. I don't need to read them all. Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Get stuck into Discord if you want. You know, we're getting out of this lockdown now, and everything's going to be so much different. What did you call it earlier on? The new normal.
The new normal.
Is that
Our new normal.
Oh, our new normal, now, is it?
Well, it is, because it's us.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, me and you. Like.
Yeah, this is our new normal.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Listen, thanks very much. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.